Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to some race or other. I have no idea. This race sponsored by Uncle Daddy's Weasel Squeezings, now in nicotine, sterno, and Tabasco flavor.
Solid.
With me, as always, is Mike O'Dread Megas and Travis, the future of pudding, Wallace.
Sure.
Travis, is it correct that you are actually the future of pudding?
I guess so. The Byron has spoken.
Correct.
You are the next innovation in the world of pudding.
We are currently watching Mike Stoffmeal with Lotus Cyan Racing, not to be confused with Lotus Fuchsia Pink Racing, driving a car that I remarked earlier looks like Shark with Down syndrome.
It is the Lotus. These are Evoras, right? Is that
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
I'm not super familiar with Lotuses. All I know is that my boss back in the day had a Lotus and would, drive up in the Lotus and then tell us how he couldn't afford to give us a raise.
I always wanted Ariel Zatoni to drive a Lotus, and then I could just post the Limb Lifter song Ariel versus Lotus.
I don't know.
They're not like super expensive cars.
Scott Nick's on the track!
They're very low budget when it comes to the way they look. You would expect them to be expensive, but they're not.
They're reasonably expensive,
well.
but they're not as expensive.
Yeah, they're affordable. Let's put it that way.
There is the 14 cars that successfully qualified for Knutstorp with Mike Stoffmill, Travis Walsh, Sean Kenny, Ariel Zatoni, Martin Edmonds, Yevgeny Lazarenko. Hey, Azar Alamore is back.
It's your boy.
Jesse Hampton, Andy Blade, Lachlan Nichols, Johnny Major, also returning Scott Nick, Wayne Medeiros, and James Boutelier. Your top 14.
James Boutelier had a bit of a rough time earlier today. Slammed into many things that didn't actually move on their own.
That's less than ideal.
Apparently he's having some technical issues, I believe.
Well,
Hamtown Race to sing the song. Doo-dah. Doo-dah.
Scott Nick is back! Scott Nick in the house. We got 3 cars here. We got the Lotus, we got the KTM, we got the Porsche, and I'm going to get Travis to give you a rundown of each of them at some point as we get going here on the track made entirely of drugs known as Knutstorp. And
Travis, I need an immediate technical breakdown from headlights to taillights on every car. Go!
Go.
Correct. Give me a moment on that.
2 Lotuses in the top 3. Yevgeny Lazarenko, a solid start there, up into 3rd place ahead of Jonathan Kenny in another Lotus. So the Lotus is looking like the one to be in at the moment. 3 of the top 4 belong to Lotus.
It's your boy, the Golf.
Indeed, Martin Edmonds there in the KTM, fighting with fellow KTM driver Ariel Zatoni.
The only way Martin Edmonds gets any love from the commentary booth is driving the golf car.
That's true.
Otherwise, we have to make fun of you. There's just no other alternative. Also, I don't really believe Sean Kenny's driving this race. There's no yellow car.
He's in that black and gold car. That's pretty Sean Kenny, for being honest. That's on brand. It's a Lotus racing car. Sean Kenny
looks
is
like a shark on with Down syndrome.
I didn't say it didn't.
It's cheerful yet aggressive.
But Byron, what did you make of this track, this Knutstorp track here in Sweden?
I didn't make it. You can't blame this on me.
I actually said when we were going through it the other night, it's like a Trackmania track, but it's something Byron would have created.
It is. There's this one. I don't know where the corner. I don't know what any of the corners are. I don't know what any of the corners are on any track, but this one in particular.
We're coming up to the one I think you're talking about, actually.
Probably, and it's got it's like the S turn with the tilty section in the middle. I have 100% put that in multiple Trackmania tracks.
Lachlan Nichols struggling, losing a spot to Andy Blade. Andy, you didn't take his bumper off. What's the deal?
Correct. Yeah,
this turn
one,
here.
This one here. I have 100% put that in the Trackmania track. Well, hey!
Whoa, Wayne Medeiros off the track there. Maybe collected by Johnny Major. Maybe did it on his own. Not entirely certain, to be honest.
Ain't nothing wrong.
Johnny Major in a
With the
battle
little
here
fucking
with
granny.
Ariel Zatoni. Not much of a battle. Ariel's just kind of coming back from his problems earlier on in the race. And we'll probably make short work of a number of these cars. So, we've been talking about it. We have a brief lull in the action, it seems here. Travis, give us a rundown of the differences between the 3 GT4 cars.
I'm getting official data. I'm gonna need 1 second.
Well, hey!
Jesse
Speed researching.
Lachlan Nichols and Jesse Hampton with a little side-by-side action there. Jesse coming off the worst of it. He'll slip out of the top 10 for that. Lachlan may be looking at a penalty for that. Don't know. Didn't really get a good look at it.
I mean, I just assume Lachlan is going to get penalized at all times.
Oh, Johnny Major loses the back end of the KTM and spins it
was going to be
around.
stylish as fuck. I'm like, oh, here he comes. That's looking great. He lost it. He lost it.
Yep. I will be driving a Porsche in the series for the remainder of it, but unfortunately I was not in attendance due to family reasons for this race.
You should actually really stick to the Edsel.
I mean, it's an option that I don't get me wrong. I definitely thought about it, but the problem was the only reason I chose the Porsches because those who know me know I don't care for the Porsches. I don't actually like the cars.
You should drive the VW bug.
Whoa,
Hey!
Ben Davis, Benjamin Orange from our last video.
You orange guy.
Going a little bit off track there. Looks like a couple of guys losing control of the cars throughout this race. Man, I could have gotten a decent result just by not spinning.
Yeah, some
Your boy
of the
Javi PT
hills
not having a good time.
and corner exits here were a handful in some of these cars. Just the weight transfer topping the hills would really swing on you.
I can see that for sure. It looks like the KTMs in particular are having more struggles than most. I think I've just kind of noticed that. It looks like the Lotuses are pretty solid. I mean, they're running again. 3 of the top 4 are Lotuses. That pretty much adds to that thought on the matter. As are Alamore. I like that livery. That's a very sexy livery.
It is nice.
Up into 5th position there is the top Porsche man at the moment.
As are the Alamo.
Oh, no, he's not. Travis Wallace, the top Porsche. What am I talking about? I picked the Porsche largely just because I enjoyed a lot of the liveries that the Porsche has. And didn't so much enjoy the KTM and Lotus offering.
Must say that this Travis, the Wallbanger Wallace, keeping pretty close tabs on the leader of the group.
Yeah, he's about 2.5 seconds back of Mr. Mike Stockmill, the Flying Dutchman. I believe also now the 50% of the ESR Dutch population.
Yeah,
I will
the
say
population
that
has gone down.
the Porsche tires did not like this track. They would get very hot.
In my limited experience, and it is limited, the Porsche tires seem to just get hot, period. It's not necessarily a track feature.
Well, the corners here, I mean, it's non-stop cornering, and the weight of that car just really overheats them.
Mm-hmm. Also, non-stop camber in a lot of these corners due to the shift in not elevation.
Hampton having some trouble.
I don't think
Not the first time.
Don't think that was Hampton. I think that was Martin Edmonds losing control actually.
No, Edmonds in the Gulf. He stole the Gulf vehicle from what I hear.
Mr. Rick Martel.
Correct.
Hijacked it.
See, that's where the praise goes away, Martin. Yeah, I mean, you're in the golf car. Normally we show a lot of love to the golf car, but you might have taken it away from our boy Rick Martel. That's not good. Actually,
I think he loaned it.
Did he acquire it through single
I think
combat?
that's what's happened.
the only way that this is acceptable, the only way is if there is a Golf Porsche for Rick to drive. This is the
Correct.
only way that it's acceptable.
And,
Golf
I'm
Ladas.
ready whenever we get another lull.
Looks like
Right
we
now
got
we have teleporting.
Yeah, we got a little bit of, well, I say a little bit of a lull, and then Martin goes a little sideways action there and gives us a little excitement there as he's trying to fight off Jesse Hampton with Ariel Zatoni just ahead of them. Zatoni's had a bit of a rough race. Lachlan Nichols is off the track again.
I think the disappearing cars kind of caught him off guard.
Yeah, Azar Alamari has also had a problem. He's dropped back to 9th position there in the Porsche.
There is Zatoni racing for Reese Iffin's Team Pancake.
And so is Jesse Hampton.
Reese Iffin's OP as well it should be.
Indeed. All right, give us the rundown, Travis. I will interrupt you if we get something really exciting.
Okay, please do, because I'm going to be looking at my phone. I do not know these stats offhand. Alright, so we'll start with the... Oh, got Nick. I looked up for a second. Okay, we're good. Nobody crashed. Alright, so the KTM Crossbow. Probably my favorite car out of these to drive. It was the one I was going to go with until I saw how heavy the field was with them. It is the lightest, coming in at... I've lost the weight.
2 pounds. 2.5 pounds.
There we go. 825 kilograms.
Ooh.
So an extremely light
That is
car.
very light.
Yes, but it only is making 240 horsepower, which really is plenty considering it doesn't weigh that much. It's not going to have a great top speed, which it doesn't, but the braking is absolutely outstanding, and the cornering is also outstanding. By far the best in the GT4 category of what we have available.
I was going to say 800 kilograms. Dude, motherfuckers can squat that.
Yes, accurate.
Whoa, one of the Porsches
went
backing up off the track there. Interesting.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Porsches going around in this race. As
Yo!
you see another one here of Lachlan Nichols
Lachlan Nichols in the wall once again.
attacking the barrier.
I believe there must have been a localized hurricane, and he just went all squirrely. You ain't in Kansas anymore, boy.
And alright, and so then our second car, we'll go with the Lotus. If we're going up the weight chain here. The Lotus showing very well today, running first, third, and fourth at the moment. Is kind of a balance in between the KTM and the Porsche. It handles very well, not quite to the standards of the Crossbow, but still very well. The braking is, I would say, mid-range, and the acceleration is pretty decent. The KTM 2-liter turbo. So what are we on? The Lotus is a 4-liter V6 naturally aspirated, 360 horsepower, so 120 horsepower more than the KTM.
About 50% horsepower more. Jesus.
This sounds like some weird nerd shit. What you say about natural asparagus?
It weighs a few hundred kilograms more, weighing in at 1190 kilograms.
Still a pretty damn impressive horsepower to ton ratio.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody can squat that.
No, that would be a tough one. But squatting a Lotus would be a difficult task.
And then the final car in the category would be the Porsche. It's the Cayman in this case. And let's see, it is weighing in at 1,320 kilograms. So very heavy compared to our other two cars. And I'm seeing a torque figure.
No!
But
Go
I'm
on.
seeing a horsepower figure. Yeah, if I can continue. Big.
How
Power
many camshafts per kilogram are we looking at here?
Let's see. All right, so it's a 3.8 liter. Obviously a flat. It's got the boxer configuration. I'm guessing 6 cylinders. If it's 3.8 liters.
That would sound about correct.
320 kilograms. There we go. Engine specs. 425 horse. So definitely the dominant one in the straight line. It'll definitely come into its own. We get away from the twisty bit tracks and hit the Anderstorp?
Anderstorp is the one on the airstrip. Yeah.
Yeah. That one.
Is that the last round? Because I know Mike Stoppmill was talking. I was just there. Someone was pondering picking the KPM Expo, and he did warn him that the last round, the Expo is going to be, or the Crossbow is going to be virtually useless. So I assume that's Anderstorp is the last round.
It would have to be. I wouldn't say it's useless. It's a longer track. It is going to suffer on the straightaway, being down well over 100 horsepower to each of the other cars.
Almost 200 horsepower to the Porsche.
Yeah. The lighter weight isn't going to do it so much when it comes to. It helps under acceleration and braking, not so much on the top end area. You still need horsepower for that. And Anderstorp is twisty. through most of the track, but it's a long straightaway. I mean, it's the whole runway. It's just, you're going to fall. Everything you gain in the corners, you're just going to lose on the straightaway. The Porsche is really going to have an advantage there.
And of course, as we saw with Laguna Seca, you know, being able to make up all kinds of ground in the corners is great, but Mike Stockmill in a Mustang's just going to blast by you anyways on the straightaway.
Yeah.
That sounds like racism.
Andy Blade in 5th place. He is the top KTM. There is a KTM right ahead of them. No, that's a Lotus.
Andy Blade currently 8 spots ahead of where he should be.
Indeed. He should be back where Wayne Medeiros is.
8 plus 5 quick maths.
I do love the way that crossover
I'm not gonna lie,
looks,
I guess.
That's a wicked looking car.
It's very cool. This is the one that you liked, actually, when we were watching Bathurst there, Byron. The one that the whole front end has to be jacked up to get the driver out.
Oh, fuck yeah. That thing's retarded.
Yeah.
I think that's the one where they
canopy
smashed the quarter panel and they held it all together with duct tape and then ripping out electrical panels and stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the turbo sound on this car is so great. It doesn't show up well on the replays, but like from the interior and
the
like
sound
when
is
you're racing
fantastic.
beside it on the track, you can really hear it. It's great.
Well, it is the Lotuses right now doing a pretty commanding job. Mike Stockman leading the way. Sean Kinney, Yevgeny Lazarenko 3rd and 4th. The only Lotus that seems to be struggling is that of Jean-Simon Chenard, the Academy driver, who appears to be having a bit of a rough time there in 17th position.
Le Grand Canard probably need to flap the wing a little harder.
Which I can't say that I blame him particularly. This is where would you rank this on difficult tracks in Raceroom, Travis? I would say this is a top 5 most difficult track.
Yeah, it's very technical, very tight corners. The elevation change is extreme. The only thing that saves it, for, in my opinion, not being one of the hardest would be the low speed, the low average speed.
That's true.
It keeps everything from coming at you too quick. It's a very good pace for how twisty the track is.
Yeah, we had some fun in the Aquilas here in one of the drop-ins not too long ago. It was a ridiculous race. Oh, Martin!
I was going to say
lost
Martin
the
Edmonds rocking the Gulf livery, but apparently you're racing for Nutella Airports Incorporated. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Mantel. Jesse Hampton up to 6th place. Hamptown Races on the chart.
We had a back marker off there for one shot. Yeah, the Lotus
looks
there.
like that'd be Jean-Simon then.
Yeah.
What
He seemed to be struggling here.
What does what mean?
I've heard the term back marker used like 4
So
times in the last week.
a back marker is a car that is being lapped, that is receiving a yellow flag.
Yes, one of the drivers at the back of the field.
Okay.
For example, when Mike Stockmill and Travis Wallace caught me at in the Assetto Corsa race today, I was a back marker.
Scrub.
I actually had decent pace at Misano. I just couldn't put it together.
The results might disagree.
Yeah, no, the results definitely disagree with that. But when you do your penalty wrong, and then you got to go into the pits again for your penalty, it's a little less than ideal. Ariel Zattoni seems to still be the man who's very out of place here, down in 8th place. He was looking really good early on, but he's had a couple of offs, and it seems like that KTM is driving him a little bit more than the other way around.
Yeah, you know what my theory is on that? It's a top 8 reverse grid. I think he's going for pole in the second.
Oh, going for pole. Martin Edmonds with a similar idea, perhaps, there in 7th place.
Yeah, he just made it look like he dropped the tires on accident. He knew what he was doing.
Get that all KTM front row. I'd say the Porsches are the ones struggling the most, aside from President's Company excluded, of course. Travis Wallace up in 2nd place, doing a fantastic job. But as are Al Morey, Scott Nick, Wayne Medeiros, James Butler, Lachlan Nichols, who we've seen go off a couple times, Javi P, are not having the greatest of time in the Porsches here today.
Yeah, the biggest problem that I was facing was the last set of corners. When you're coming into them, you got that big peak and then downhill into the double right-hander. The back end, man, if you time that wrong, the back wheels lock up and you will go around. Actually, I did that. That's why I've fallen so close to 3rd place. I did have a bigger gap than that, but I spun it.
Indeed, you are now 17 seconds behind Mr. Mike Stopmill at the front of the pack. Another back marker getting out of the way of the battle for 5th place there between Jesse Hampton and Andy Blade was one of the KTMs. Probably Johnny Major, if I were to guess.
Sir, I believe we need to do away with this backmarker terminology. It's just derogatory and hurtful. We should address them in a more appropriate and culturally acceptable term, scrub.
I feel like that might be more offensive.
That's possible. I haven't really done the math on that one.
Ben Davis and Azar Almore having a battle there for 9th position. I guess I should be happy I missed this race in the Porsche, because it sounds like I would have probably been in dead last place.
It was a handful.
Jean-Simon, the penalty, the track limit abuse. You are the bad boy. You go to the box and feel shame.
Indeed. We're running down towards the end of the race here. I'm going to guess 2 laps remaining at the, I'm seeing 1 minute to 1 minute 2 fastest laps. Oh, little contact there between Azar Alamore and Ben Davis. Ben Davis retains 9th position. Good job by him. Scott Nick, Wayne Medeiros, Lachlan Nichols in behind them, although not particularly close. And off the track goes Mr. Ben Davis, and Azar Alamore takes back 6th position. Academy Watch. Ben Davis is in 10th position. We have James Boutlier in 13th. Johnny Major in 14th. Lachlan Nichols 15th. Javi P 16th. And Jean-Simon Chenard bringing up the rear in 17th position.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, Alamore.
Mm-hmm. Jesse Hampton on the tail of Andy Blake. What is this bullshit of top 5 Andy Blade? I demand answers.
I think he's paid a lot of guys, and at least 8 guys.
He has greased a couple of palms.
As well as himself. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's straight
I don't think
grass-fed butter to get in that gimp suit.
Hampton is really putting the pressure on.
Jesse is putting the pressure on, absolutely. He's had a couple of spins, so he's got to be a little bit careful, but looks like he's got the speed to take Andy if he can find a way around. I don't recall this track having a tremendously large number of overtaking areas, though, to be honest. One of the Lotuses off in the background there, that was probably Jean-Simon Chenard getting another lap put on him by the battle for 5th place.
So coming to the white flag.
Indeed, we are coming to the end of this
round.
Race number 1 of 2. I believe that these two are not racing anymore, but I could be mistaken. No, they are still racing. So Jesse Hampton taking 5th. Andy Blade trying to get back down the inside there.
Oh, touch the gravel.
Oh, this could be really good here. This could be a great battle here for 5th down across the line. Andy Blade has got the position back for now. In the background is one of the KTMs, but I believe that is a lapped car of Johnny Major, the 14th place KTM, who's in the mix there. And the checker flag is out, so Mike Stopmill is your official winner, and he'll be followed home by Travis Wallace and Sean Kenny making up the podium. I imagine battle continues here between Jesse Hampton and Andy Blade for 5th position. Andy Blade, a top 5. What is this? Lachlan Nichols, drive-through penalty for track limit abuse.
On the last lap.
I was going to say, with no time left on the race.
He'll take a time penalty on that as opposed to having to serve the drive-through. Ben Davis trying to get around Azar Alamore. It does not work out.
Bends the tires.
He got hit in the eye with a big pizza pie.
It's gonna open up the door here for Scott Nick, but just not enough time for Scott to do anything about it as he comes across the line in 11th position there. There is the 90-second penalty that Lachlan Nichols got hit with.
90 seconds, holy crap.
He losing a spot to Johnny Major, Wayne Medeiros, and James Butler as a result, I think.
That's a shame.
90 seconds is like a whole lap.
That is more than a lap.
It might take, 15 seconds, 20 seconds to drive through this pit road?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing with the time penalties, just, not being track specific. It's just, here you go. Misano, for example, today, as someone who had a drive-through penalty and a stop-go penalty, very, very long pit lane. Someone did not leave the pits there. I think it was Ben Davis in the KTM who has not joined the grid yet, so he'll face a He will face a 50... Oh, what are you laughing at?
If Kenny's racing, I don't know. Is he racing? I have no idea.
Is he racing?
Nobody knows.
The reverse grid start went off pretty well. I didn't see anybody off track or getting hit.
Looked like one of the
much.
KTMs went a little bit wide, but aside from that, pretty good start. Yeah, I'll have to give you that. In the lead is Ariel Zatoni from Martin Edmonds, and of course the great laser focus of Yevgeny Lazarenko in the Lotus there in third position. Mike
Laser
Stockmill
face.
is already up to 5th place and is pressuring Jesse Hampton.
Yevgeny the Golden Lasso Lazarenko.
So many names can be done with that name.
A lot, yeah. I'm gonna just keep going.
Travis Wallace up to 6, Sean Kenny, Azar Alamori, James Butler, Scott Nick, Wayne Medeiros, Johnny Major. I'll tell you who got a bad start. If you look down in 15th place there, Andy Blade.
Correct.
Wow. Maybe he was the KTM that was off that we saw.
That I suspect that is the kid.
He is the Gupnik, Scott Nick.
Indeed. Ben Davis, I don't know if he got running. He's down a lap, so I know you got to face a 15-second penalty if you start from the pit lane, but he should be on the track now. Doesn't seem like he is. We'll have to see if we can get a look in the pits and see if the orange KTM is still stationary.
He may or may not have found some racy pictures online and got very distracted.
Very distracted. Jesse Hampton still in 5th place, having lost a spot to Mike Stockmill, but has gained a spot over... I don't know who. Is in 4th? May have been in 4th and Stockmill was in 5th. I could be misremembering. Sean Kenny there in the Lotus Driving Academy car in 7th position there in the Lotus.
Maybe.
The classic John Player's special car colors that adorned the Lotuses back in the 1970s in Formula 1.
The cigarette?
Travis Wallace getting up past Jesse Hampton. Dude, it's Formula 1 in the 70s was all about tobacco sponsorship.
Hell yeah. Smoke him if you got him. And
Marlboro,
Please don't make that
John
tires.
Player's Specials, Camel.
I think that was all the sponsorship you saw in the 70s.
And more or less. There's a couple
Camel
of
cigarettes even exist anymore?
I think they still do.
Interesting.
Haven't seen them on a race car since the 1990s, though.
Well, no, that's illegal.
Nah, it was legal into the 2000s. You still had Marlboro
Oh, really?
on the
Oh,
Ferraris,
okay.
for example.
Interesting.
And of course, Benson Hedges on the Jordans, the Buzzing Hornets. I love those Jordan liveries. Even if you're not a racing fan, look up like 1990s to early 2000s Jordan F1 liveries. Sexy cars, amazing. Also, there are various models that will also come up because Eddie Jordan was a fan of Beautiful Ladies.
Who isn't?
He was a little bit more than the standard auto racing owner.
Very enthusiastic.
He's highly enthusiastic about the sex appeal of F1.
Stop wheel watch up to 4th place. Stop wheel watch.
running hard.
Look at it third. Look at it third. Look at it third. Look at it third. Looking
He's
at you,
getting-
boy.
Yeah, but he's got to get around Yevgeny Lazarenko, who is a notoriously difficult car to pass.
Wallace watch. Can I close in and give Stop wheel the fucking pit maneuver?
Travis at this point hoping that Lazarenko can deploy the laser net and keep Mike Stockmill behind. Ariel Zatoni, in the meantime, has built up about a 2-second lead up in front. So good work from the Argentinian. At the
Tractor
back.
beam engaged.
Yeah, I mean, that gap's going to disappear if Stockmill gets clear of this traffic that is Martin Edmonds and Yevgeny Lazarenko.
I mean, getting past Martin probably won't be a big deal.
In the meantime, I can pretty much confirm that Ben Davis has indeed not left the pit lane, so something happened there. We're not gonna we're gonna make vague suggestions that maybe he found some porn, and just leave it at that.
Whoa, porn's a pretty strong term. Let's just say.
Stockmill going down the inside.
Got it to stick
Get
that
the
time.
job. Oh, he's going he's going around the outside of Martin.
Not
That's left him
gonna get that
vulnerable.
one done.
That left him vulnerable to Yevgeny Lazarenko, who came back at the Dutchman and was unable to retain 3rd position. But Martin Edmonds now at the head of the train, and you can see in the background Mr. Travis Wallace has latched on to the back of this in his Porsche.
Travis the Wall.
Is that one of the Ren Sport Porsches that you're running there, Travis?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I am running one of the Ren Sport Porsches as well. We need to devise up a whole Rensport team. Get all the drivers in on it.
That'd be awesome.
Mob mentality, baby. The entire grid will become Rensport. Speaking
Little
of which,
shoving.
some shoving going on. Little bump
Not
and
gonna say
grind.
who instigated that, but it was probably me.
It was probably Travis. I don't know. See, normally I'd be with you, but with you fighting with Yevgeny, it's a little bit more of a 50-50 proposition. Yevgeny is known to be a little bit of a bump and grinder, and nothing wrong with that. You keep yourself out of the sin bin and you retain the position, it's all great. But Yevgeny can be a little bit of a physical battler in the realm of auto racing. We got about 14 minutes left in this race, and Ariel Zatoni leads from Martin Edmonds, Mike Stoppel, Travis Walls, Yevgeny Lazarenko, Jesse Hampton, Azar Alamore, followed by this man, Sean Kinney, in the Lotus. Then it is Scott, Nick, and Johnny Major having a pretty good race there up in 10th place.
Travis Well is currently sponsored by Uncle Daddy's Smoked Squirrel Knuckles.
Andy Blade slightly above where he should be. It's just slightly.
Many positions.
Mike Stoppmill in that Lotus Cyan racing car all over the rear of the Mantella KTM crossbow of Martin Edmonds. Canada versus Holland. And in autosports, it's never Canada that wins against Holland. Let's be honest here.
Whoa. Listen, you either start letting us win or we're going to start shooting your soccer players in the knee.
As far as international racing goes, Canada has Jacques Villeneuve, Gilles Villeneuve, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Although
driving in Canada is not something we do for really sport. It's like, okay, we got to go from here to there. It's going to be 4 hours.
That's our version of a rally.
In Canada, we don't measure distance. It's all time.
It's all time, pretty much.
How far is it? About 3 hours.
Oh no! See, I once did a cross Canada rally actually with a buddy of mine, and it was really interesting because we get like your checkpoints and whatever. There were just some interesting cities, well, not cities, but like towns that exist.
The village.
Indeed. Did you know that there is a Moose Antler, Saskatchewan? Everyone knows about Moose Jaw, but not Moose Antler.
Oh!
I was not aware, but I can't be too surprised as Mike Stoffmeal gets a little bumpy grind.
Stoffmeal went for the dive there. Somehow made it stick. That was a lot of momentum.
Yeah, good job by Jean-Simon Chenard in the Lotus there to get out of the way of the back marker as the leaders came through. Good work. And Travis Wallace will be next up to try to take a crack at the Mantella KTM Expo, or Crossbow. I keep saying it.
Nutella?
Mantella.
Nutella.
Rensport 1, RS1. Travis Wallace, soon to be my teammate next round.
I think this is where I disappear.
Yeah, there appears to be some interesting connection problems going on
like
here.
Right here.
Mr. Travis Wallace.
Travis the Wallbanger Wallace.
Somewhere in here.
You realize when you disappear that there's an obvious reference that I'm going to have to make.
Maybe it's the next lap. I know it's through the S's up there.
Be sure to use the code Wallace at weaselsqueezings.com. Get yourself 20% off.
Only 20%. I actually, you remember those sunglasses I was looking at the other day?
Yeah.
I ended up buying them because they gave me a 65% off coupon.
Jesus, okay. Yeah.
Still probably more than they're worth, actually. It still wound up being like, I don't know, like more than $50.
It's like that, you watch YouTube videos and everyone's like, NordVPN sponsoring this, 75% off for a 3-year deal. I'm like, is it 75% off or is it just really cheap?
Yeah.
Don't lie, because it's technically illegal in a lot of countries. You can't just have a fake sale price if it's $3, but you're telling people it's 70% off, and then therefore they're getting the deal for $3. That's illegal in Canada, Australia, and I think UK. Well, basically every Commonwealth country.
Ariel Zatoni, I think, had an off. He's dropped down to 5th place from 2nd, so problems for Ariel.
Sean Kenny giving a little kiss on the booty.
Sean Kenny getting a little physical with Jesse Hampton. Jesse Hampton's been at the source of a lot of fights throughout these two races.
He is very attractive. They all want to be near and grind on him.
There's Andy Blade in a battle with Scott Nick, who I believe that's also a Rensport car for Scott Nick. Oh.
Such a good-looking livery, man.
Our team is growing. I'm running the green and black Rensport car. If I recall correctly.
You do not.
Definitely a green on it. Let's be real. Sean Kenny putting the pressure on Mr. Jesse Hampton. Is that Hampton? Yeah, it is Hampton. Battling out for... No, that's not Hampton. That's got to be a lapped car ahead of him, actually.
I don't know. If it is, he's been ignoring the blue flag. They've been going at it.
Oh, no. It is Jesse Hampton. I was messing up the gaps. That's my bad. So Sean Kenny on the battle here. Further up, all Porsche battle between Lachlan Nichols and Javi P. Go Javi P. Love you, Lachlan, but I'm going to cheer for Javi P anytime.
Get him, Javier!
Javi P showing him the Mexican wiggle. Oh no, there's a lot of black stuff coming out of the back of Javi's car. That's just the Mexican black tar heroin.
Correct. Deploy the heroin cloud, get everybody fucked up, and then you win.
It looks like Lachlan has gotten the job done, unfortunately, there in the battle for 12th position. And there it goes, Travis Wallace disconnected from the race. And I just have one question. String! Where the fuck is Wallace?
Correct.
Pissadeered.
And that promotes this battle between Jesse Hampton and Sean Kenny to a battle for 5th position. Top 5 on the line here for Sean Kenny, which is a big deal as he had a pretty solid race 1. Yevgeny Lazarenko still bringing home a podium spot here for the Lotuses. Lotuses are once again doing quite well. 1st, 3rd, and 6th. Not quite as well as previous, but quite well.
Oh Lord, stuck in a low tie again.
Looks like we have lost James Butler at some point. I believe he has exited the race. Might have lost Jean-Simon Chenard. I'm not entirely certain.
Is that him on pit road? Wasn't he in the colored Lotus?
Yeah, that would probably be him. Yevgeny Lazarenko.
Hello.
Martin Edmonds getting a little feisty.
It's just a high five on the way past.
Yeah, Yevgeny looking to get into the action here. Looking to make it a Lotus 1-2, which they could not do in race 1 because of our co-host, Travis Wallace, and his expertise performance in the Porsche to take 2nd place at this highly difficult track for the Porsches.
I disagree.
Here's a question for you, Travis, because I honestly don't really know the answer, and I could, obviously find out pretty easily. But what is the specific difference between the Porsches here and the GT4 as opposed to the Cayman Cup cars that are also in the game?
The eyeballs are just a little bit more googly.
I think it's similar to like the difference in the GT3 and the GT Cup 911s. I think it's just basically like I don't think it's the aero package on the GT4s, because I think they're the same aero package, but I think it's like a weight and a slight power difference.
Ah, that would make sense. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's really much to this Porsche aero package, particularly in the GT4s. GT4, of course, a very up and coming racing category. I'm seeing a lot of series actually pop up, and really been enjoying some of the action from the European GT4 Championship. It's been pretty fantastic. In fact, the GT4 Camaro I would love to see added to this game.
Oh God, yes.
For a change, Chevrolet might have gotten something right.
Yeah, I do love it. I wish they had the Camaro in here. That's what I'd be rocking.
I'd also love the Alpine. That's a pretty nice looking car. And of course, I'm always a fan of Audi or BMW or Mercedes. It's all good stuff.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Ginetta make a comeback into a game.
Ah, the Ginetta.
They haven't
Yeah,
been around
that's
in a
true.
while in a good racing sim.
I mean, they're in a racing sim, but it's, I wouldn't use the qualifier good to describe Roger Carson.
Any relation to Joey Janetto?
Oh, that needs to be a thing in AEW. Joey Janela driving a Ginetta to the ring.
Travis Wallace, currently Joey Janela's biggest fucking fan in the world.
Love that guy.
You've experienced the Joey Janela. Excellent.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yes.
watched AEW while you were fucking off
that's
with
true.
your mech warrior.
It's true. Joey Janela is a pretty good. He's reinvigorating what it means to be a deathmatch wrestler, which is very good.
Correct. Although I feel Travis was unprepared completely for the package that Sunny Kiss brings to the ring.
Oh, Sunny Kiss. Sunny Kiss brings a package just for fucking sure.
This is a big old package.
I don't know if I should say this on air, but
Do it.
there was a
Just shock to the system.
no, it was some kind of low budget, like backyard type deal. But they called what was it called? The scissor incident.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that was probably the toughest match to watch. I mean, like, I love a good hardcore match, but that was another level. I mean, I was
telling you,
waiting
man,
on somebody to die.
You need to look into some Big Japan, and you'll just have a whole new outlook on life. It probably won't be very positive, but
I have but 3 words for you: Cage of Death.
I'm down for that.
Oh,
we need
yeah.
to do a Cage of Death evening. Mike, you find us the
Big
videos,
Japan
Mike.
stuff is fantastic, but I mean, just oh my god, dude. I don't even want to describe it. It was very tough to watch. The scissors.
Correct. A lot of it is.
I came to CZW for 3 things: your hair, the bounty on your head, and the title around your waist.
And then Eddie Kingston backfist the future in the balls.
Well, that was the greatest promo of Chaos's career, quite frankly. Although the Eddie Kingston Chris Hero feud is much watch, probably the best thing CZW's ever done. I've never seen someone do a double turn so seamlessly.
Correct.
Don Kenny might be getting it done here.
Sean Kenny putting the pressure on Jesse. No, that's Ariel Zatoni, pardon me. So he's fighting with another KTM. It just
Fought him off.
just never ends for Sean Kenny in the KTM battles. And KTM versus...
Nudge.
I would say that without Travis Wallace, man, the Porsches are not doing well. Scott Nick is the top one in 8th place.
Well, if you sit around on
with
your
the
Porsches
track
all day.
selection, I'm surprised there's any Porsches in these races. The Swedish tracks were just not
Because
made
the
for
liveries, sir,
the
is the
Porsches.
answer to this question.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
got to be.
It's the livery.
Everybody knows that Porsche is the best mid-wheel drive that there has ever been since the thing before that.
Porsche's the best at nothing, and I include making tanks.
That's what I made the clinically impossible joke of a mid-wheel drive.
All I need to say about Porsche is observe the third man.
I have one question and one question only. Is
Okay.
he racing?
Might be. It's a little bit of a Schrodinger's cat thing.
No.
Speaking of Schroeder, I need some Hennessy.
Yeah, with this battle
Urban
going on for a second, I'm surprised Stoffmill hadn't completely checked out.
Yeah, it's
He's
only
gotta be
seven.
just
It's only
cruising around.
7.4 seconds. I mean, he could be getting held up in traffic. I know he was not terribly pleased with some of the blue flag procedure. Yevgeny Lazarenko putting the pressure on Martin Edmonds. Martin's held up pretty well. He's been up to the challenge of fighting the Lotus, which seems to be the strongest of the cars here today. Behind them, that is the lapped Porsche of Lachlan Nichols, currently in 11th position there. And Andy Blade has moved into the top 10 in 7th place, so he's having a pretty decent comeback ride from some early problems. In fact, I was going to say, if there was more time left, we might see Andy Blade versus Jesse Hampton round 2, but right now there's about 10 seconds between the two of them, and I don't believe that there's enough time to make up that gap.
My God, it'll take Andy Blade 9 years to make up that gap.
Probably close to 10, actually.
10 3/4 of your Earth years.
Who's got the green and black Porsche? I don't think he's been focused on the entire race.
I couldn't tell you.
Looks like it's
Probably
Wayne. Looks like it's
Johnson
Wayne Medeiros, actually.
Could be. It really, like, anybody between, like, 11th place and down hasn't really been focused on at all during this.
Well, I know which one Lachlan's car is. This is the orange and gray Porsche. That's popped up pretty easily. Jean Simon's in the Lotus, classic Lotus colors for the Lotus team. Wayne, yeah, by process of elimination, I'm pretty sure it's Wayne Medeiros. He's sporting the pretty sick-looking black and green Porsche. I'll point it out next time it's on the screen. Very nice looking livery.
Rinko's going to do something. He better hurry.
He's got to get
Coming into
around
the last
Martin
couple of
Edmonds.
corners here.
There's not a lot of time left. We are headed into the most difficult of corners. But
listen, Evgeny, just take the penalty, put him in the wall, and on paper you finish second.
He's giving the flash of the headlights, but it's not going to be good enough. Martin Edmonds holds on to second place and denies Lotus their 1-2. Jesse Hampton did lose the spot to Sean Kenny, so Sean Kenny comes across the line of fourth ahead of Jesse Hampton, Ariel Zatoni. Scott Nick in the top Porsche really physical there between, I believe that was Lachlan Nichols, and I am correct, against Javi P. Javi P hanging on to 12th place. Good work, Javi.
Well done indeed.
Travis Wallace approves, I assume, of the physicality.
Absolutely, I like it.
Lachlan Nichols, noted terrorist.
Noted terrorist and ex-stripper. Can confirm it is the Vic team car of Wayne Medeiros that I was looking at before. Looked very nice. Good.
Wait, did Lachlan get a second 90-second
Lachlan
penalty?
got another 90-second penalty? Jesus Christ, Lachlan.
Scrub.
What is
fighting right there? Just completely out the window.
What is wrong with you? That is terrible.
The man's all jacked up on PCP and kangaroo urine.
Welcome back, Scott Nick. A pretty solid 7th place in race 2. Top Porsche entry. Stop Mill, Edmonds, Lazarenko, Kenny, Hampton, Zatoni, Nick, Blade, Major, Alamore, Medeiros, Javi P. Lachlan Nichols are your men to make it to the end of the race, and down to 13th place. The race lost Jean-Simon Chouinard, Travis Walsh, James Butler, and never really had Ben Davis, who never left the pit lane. So,
what a scrub.
Gentlemen, do you have any final words to begin this, the highly amusing Swedish series name that we have for this particular package?
What, Nutstrap?
Hot dog.
No, it's hot dog, basically.
What the fuck?
So the name of this series is the Swedish Hogtid. Högtid.
I was gonna go with Hogtide, but okay.
I don't know what it means. You'd have to ask Martin.
Festival? Is it festival?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe you're right. A festival, something along those lines.
Dragoo Festival.
Indeed. So that is the first one done there. Let me just see if there's any penalties that I can reveal before we
all of them
sign it off. Pending penalties. Where are you? Where are the penalties? There they are. There is. Hang on. Let me just open her up. No accidents on the lap. No incidents on lap 1 for either race. Very impressive.
Well done.
Sean Kenny is getting a tier 2 penalty for contact with Ariel Zatoni. That is the only penalty.
I would like to penalize Travis Wallace for being a scrub and abandoning the race.
Indeed. I could see that being penalty worthy. All right. That is all for the opening round of the Swedish Högtid. And we will talk to you next time. Not really much going on this week. I think the next commentary we'll have for you is the Underclass Academy race from Saturday and the Formula 3s. I think are actually the next events we have up. Because Paul was silly and didn't stagger his Tuesday series with my Wednesday series.
That seems odd.
That really probably should have been a thing. I'm going to have words with him about that.
Wait, is that Paul Ricard guy they named the race after?
Yeah, totally.